This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Hello, America, and welcome to the #1 radio station in all of Fort Myers Beach. Beach Talk Radio. Here are your hosts, Kim and Ed Ryan.
And welcome to St. Patrick's Day at Wahoo Willie's, everybody. Give yourself a round of applause. You are early drinkers.
It's not that early.
These people have been drinking since 9 o'clock this morning, so it's going to be a long day here on the beach. Everybody's wearing green, well, except for some people who are not wearing green. Even I'm wearing green, and this is the first show I think I've done without our own merchandise on it that says Beach Talk Radio on it. So
it fits you good, though. It looks good, and
I
don't give you many compliments.
Flex my boobies like that, yeah.
Starting off right in the toilet.
Yeah. So for those of you that are new to Fort Myers Beach, we do a show here on the Facebook and the YouTube with the mayor every Sunday at 11 o'clock because, in case you didn't know it, a hurricane came through here about 19 or so months ago. And every Sunday, the mayor gives us an update on exactly how things are going. And if you didn't watch the Facebook yesterday, we also played a little pickleball yesterday. And dear, I was so proud of you yesterday for your performance on the court.
You have gotten a lot of backlash for your behavior yesterday.
Well, you cost us the game. There was a stretch there where it was 13-13, and we were neck and neck with these two. The big government players, and then you just laid an egg in the middle of the game. But I tried to cover for you.
First of all, you took the net out. You ran to the net, lost footing. He's got like size 13 feet. So these canoes, tripped right. It's like Daffy Duck. It's like these big flapper feet.
As they say in the NFL, I left it all on the field. I went out there
and I saw. On the field?
I had to dive for the ball.
Your dignity? That's what you left on the field.
How dare you?
You left your
insult
dignity
me
on the field.
Anyway, the mayor and the vice mayor won by a score of 28 to whatever the hell we had.
It was
16.
bad. It was bad.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you to the Community Foundation. Thank God for joy.
On the bike ride, were saying how much fun they had listening, and it was fun for us to go back.
Oh yeah, last night.
Yeah, and listen to the microphones.
The microphones brought the audio was so perfect, and we could hear Jim and Dan strategizing on the microphone. We couldn't hear it.
When he comes to the net,
right?
Smash
Slam
it right in Kim's face.
It was all for a good cause for the Community Foundation, and thank God for Joy, because if it wasn't for Joy, I don't know who would have been serving or what box to move from, and I don't know what the hell the kitchen is and why there's a kitchen in the middle of a pickleball game.
You're never in the kitchen in the house. You should never get in the kitchen on the pickleball court either.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, can we get a big round of applause for your mayor, Fort Myers Beach Mayor Dan Allers,
and winner of the pickleball tournament.
Yeah, I think we need to correct a few things. First, it was 29 to 16.
Whatever.
It was never 13 to 13. You were never that good.
I think we were ahead at one point.
You were. Yeah, okay. we were giving you, like true government agency, we were giving you false sense of hope.
Yeah.
Before we just crushed you.
And we're here to help.
I'd take a dig before you did it.
Wow. No, and I have to tell you, I
have to say you did really, really good.
I think you're a liar. I think you lied and said you never played pickleball before. Clearly, that wasn't the case yesterday. The way that you were playing, you have clearly played before.
In full transparency, I had never played before, but Jim and I did practice on Thursday for about an hour. And that was it.
Did you pay for the Bay Oaks court, or did you just knock people off there?
No, we played down where they live down at Bay Beach. Their courts. So it was outside. So we didn't know we didn't know there was a different ball that plays on the inside. And
I didn't know that either.
Honestly, I think if we had stayed on our side, there was something about switching the sides that got me all verklempt.
I would be willing to bet
it wouldn't have mattered.
That's the most time Ed has ever spent in the kitchen. Because every single time he was standing, and I didn't even know what the kitchen was either, but Megan has been playing.
Oh, I see.
And so she's like, you can't go in the kitchen. I'm like, what do you mean the kitchen? So the line that you kept going in and tripping over, that was the kitchen. So
I didn't trip over the line, Dan. I tripped over the net because I was diving for the ball. Let's clarify that.
You were the one saying you were going to aim for my feet because I have a bad knee. So I just took your strategy and
it worked.
Flipped it around.
It worked. No, it was a workout for sure. I was sweating my butt off.
It's much more work than it looks like.
Yeah, and this morning when I got up, I was like, oh. I mean, that pickleball.
I stretched afterwards.
Jim said to me before the match, he goes, please tell me you were sore after Thursday's practice. I said, no, actually, I was fine. He's like, oh.
And he's a tennis player.
Yeah,
so you watch Jim play, and he's like Mr. Finesse. Like he wants.
Yeah,
he was so quiet. Yeah. Like he didn't trash talk at all, which I expected he wouldn't. But you guys rocked it out with the shirts and the socks and the whole thing.
Yeah, if we were gonna go, we were gonna go full tilt. We were trying. We couldn't. I was trying to find it. You remember the old Richard Simmons shorts?
We were thinking the same thing.
We were trying
to find them. I couldn't get them in time, but Megan's like, "Oh, you guys are not wearing shorts." I'm like, "Oh, yes, we are. If we could find them, we're gonna."
That would have been totally distracting.
It was a lot of fun, and I think people appreciated that. We have to come up with some other. That was really a good fun.
And so I was always afraid to try it. I'm like, to me, it always looked boring but it's actually a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
I think it's a lot of fun the way we played it. I think I've watched videos where they're very close to that kitchen line and they're just ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
I liked the way we played it, where it was more tennis-ish.
Well, I think in anything, if you want to back somebody away, smash it into their face.
Right.
They'll move.
There wasn't a ton of that, though.
No, there wasn't. We were pretty.
You smashed it at me a couple of times. I mean, I know.
Well, my aim was off. Honestly, it was. I would never hit it at you very hard. I would never do that.
So there was a tournament after our match yesterday for the Community Foundation. So once we know exactly how much money they raised for the Community Foundation, we'll post that in our newsletter on Tuesday. But thank you to Joy and to everybody who volunteered. I mean, it really was a good time, and I hope they had a big day yesterday. Thank you to Alex King for being a sponsor. He sponsors everything.
Yep. Needless to say, none of us are going to the pickleball championships.
Well, the hacks got in early, and we got out of the way when the true professionals came in.
I think we should make that an annual event, and we will practice for next year. And maybe I was thinking I want to take on Dan one-on-one. There should be a singles match also at some point along the way, but
does he always enjoy this much punishment?
My God,
I'm so competitive. I was so pissed off that we lost.
Tell.
I mean, it was just I hate losing at anything.
I don't understand why you hate losing, because every race we did back in the day, you always came in fourth, and I always came in first or second.
Yeah, always because then the top three get medals, so I would always come in fourth.
He never got a medal. All of our medals. Courtesy of me.
I got participation medals.
That's what I get. A friend of mine last night the story about people that go to the gym and they work out and they're really super strong, but when you grow up in farm area, right, there's a different kind of strength.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And we were down at my ex-in-laws' place once, and the guy's never lifted a weight in his life, and he doesn't look like he's super powerful. And a friend of mine was down there, and the tractor got stuck, and then they got a four-wheeler stuck, and they got all this stuff, and the guy could put up a lot of weight. I mean, he was put together. And he says, go grab that log chain and we're going to go get another tractor. And he's struggling, trying to lift this chain. And again, this guy's buff, right? He's trying to pick this chain up and he's struggling with it. And my ex-father-in-law walks over with one hand and grabs the entire chain, throws it on his shoulder, just walks. That's why you don't mess with a farmer.
That's right. That's why you don't play pickleball with a mayor. I guess that's the moral of that story.
Mayor.
So let's talk about some of the things that are going on. The first thing. Have you seen the drawing of Times Square?
I've seen a rendering of a first iteration, but it was it was two pictures of it was really nothing to look at.
Do you know when the public will get a chance to see a picture of Times Square?
I have not heard anything. I know that the first one came out and
was that like just a sketch, or was it like an actual?
No, it was like a sketch, and it wasn't even
like on a napkin, or was it like?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't. It was just kind of an idea, but
okay.
It wasn't really.
From the people that you talked to, are they close to releasing anything that you know of?
No one's really had any contact with me to tell me. I had to ask to see if anybody had anything yet.
Okay.
And this, they went back and they're changing some architectural things on it. So I don't know. I've heard a month, I've heard 2 months, so I'm not really sure.
Now, somebody was on Fox 4 talking about the property. Did you see the report?
Yeah, I did.
And were they talking about apartments on top of the restaurants?
Well,
and stores and a whole, like it was.
Well,
it was a whole nine.
it created a kind of a stir. And I did make a comment on one of the posts that nothing has been submitted as far as I know.
Right.
And definitely nothing's been approved. So to say that there's going to be residential units on top of commercial in Times Square is a little premature because nobody's submitted anything.
Is it even zoned for that? Could they do that now?
I mean, I guess I don't know. I think you could. It's downtown district just like this. But.
And weren't prior to the storm, there were some places that were rented above one of the stores.
Right. Deputy Dan lived there.
Well, I think H2O has got a rental space above it.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so it's possible, but nobody's really seen anything.
Yeah, that I've seen.
What have you heard about food truck going in next to La Ola? Have you heard about this Buffalo thing going in next on Brad's property? I guess. So I know we're trying to get through this whole trailer thing, and you're trying to set a deadline for people to start coming up with a plan to rebuild. Mm-hmm. Where do you think the town council is on that trailer plan to rebuild?
Well, I think we kind of gave direction. It's going to go back to the LPA, kind of use that deadline of the 3 years that was for the residential part of it through the Senate Bill 250 as an idea of a date to say you have to come up with a plan. We don't want trailers to be there forever, or maybe we do. We haven't really had that, but to put something out there to at least let people know, there's a time to this. It's not going to be forever. Unless everybody decides or the council decides and the LPA decides that that's a vision that they want for Times Square. We don't know. I don't know if there's enough money to be made in a food truck. I've never been in the business, but it was something to say if after 3 years you haven't done anything, you haven't submitted a permit, you haven't come in and talked to staff. I mean, there's chances are you're not going to do anything.
So that is for residential and commercial. Yes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Through the discussions, it kind of came out. It just makes sense to keep it the same date. It's simple. It's clean. People know it's still quite a ways away. And again, it's not, on the 28th of September, on the 2025, you've got to be off that property. If you're going through the process and you're submitting permits and you're doing what you have to do, that's a different story. But
although with Times Square, they all have to work together. It's not like
they don't have to work together.
They don't have to,
but it makes sense for them to do it.
That might take them a little bit more time to sort of wrangle.
Well,
opinions out.
You try to get that many business owners on the same page. I've said it many times. It's very difficult to do, but if you just look at the dollars and cents of it, it makes sense to come up with a combination plan. You still have your own space, but you don't have the expensive elevators in every unit. You don't have bathrooms. There's things that you can do to make it more cost effective to be able to rebuild.
One of the things Terry also said on that Fox 4 report was that perhaps it'll connect to the pier, which was total out of left field for me. I mean, there's never been any discussion of what he's building will connect to the pier.
I mean, there was, way back in the day, nobody knows what the pier is going to be. So is it going to be elevated? Is it going to be the same as that? We don't know yet. So it is all premature, but you got to start with an idea. Mm-hmm. No, maybe there could be some sort of connectivity. Maybe there can't be. We all know that has to be elevated.
Right.
So is there a way to connect it up? I'm sure there's ways to do it, but again, nothing's been submitted. So until we see something submitted, you can really start having discussions about this could work, this couldn't work, because it's going to take the town, with what they're working on, it's going to take the town buy-in and the county buy-in to be able to make it work.
Now that Terry,
but there's no. It could be that it goes all food truck then.
I mean, right now, food trucks are technically not allowed by ordinance in the town of Fort Myers Beach, but personally, I think they're kind of fun. I mean, anybody that's been to one of these
and they're
places,
mobile to get the heck out of the way.
Well, that's just it, but is that something that the beach wants?
Right.
Is that something that the beach wants in Times Square? Is there another place on the island that makes more sense? So I think we'll have those discussions.
Now that Terry owns the Dairy Queen property, what will the direction from the town be to clean that piece of property up? It's just got a fence around it, and it's still it's a wreck.
Well, I haven't talked to Terry, and I don't know if the town has talked to Terry yet, but I mean, ideally you'd like to see it all cleaned up and make it look nice, but he's done exactly what was required. He's made it safe so people can't go in there and trip around. So as of right now, he's doing what is asked of him. So, hopefully I'm guessing it's probably not very cheap to go in and take all that concrete and clean it all out of there.
When it could have been cheap.
Well, it could have been, but he didn't own the property at the
time. Well, it wasn't
True.
cheap to buy it either.
No, it was like $6 million or something. They said
6.4 or something like that. Yeah. And there's only
That's
one.
a lot of ice cream.
And there's only one.
That's a lot of peanut butter parfait.
That's $70. That's a $70 ice cream cone going in right there.
$25 banana split.
Yeah. Now there's one sliver of property left that Terry doesn't own, and that's owned by Brad.
Yep.
Which used to be the T-shirt shop, right?
And then they had like the sunglasses and stuff out.
Yeah, yeah. And then Brad owns on the other side of Times Square where Margaritas was, and so the Tom is killing it down there at La Ola, and so he's kind of like in hyperspace with what's going on because Chris, who was on the show yesterday at Margaritaville, Primo and his trust own that property. He could build by right now. He can build on that side.
Sure.
There's no reason for him to wait.
Everybody could build something by right on their property. Yeah.
Right. So do you think that, let's say Chris doesn't have a plan by the 25th, September 28, 2025, Chris doesn't have a plan. He's kind of waiting for the Times Square plan. Will you guys kick Tom out of Times Square?
Nobody's kicking anybody out yet. It's going back to the LPA for their input, and then it'll come back for ratification through the town council. So there's nothing set in stone yet, but the direction was given that the town council is kind of favoring. The 25th is a date to have something in the works at least.
Right. So as far as lighting goes, I know Estero Boulevard will have lights by 2029.
The light situation is like Groundhog Day.
Well,
I mean,
we have
something new.
Well,
is there new illumination on the light situation?
Well, we've got a little more details. So
all right.
They're gonna start the beginning of April. They're mobilizing now. They're putting stuff out there now. They're gonna do Estero Boulevard first. It's gonna be done in 3 segments. So the first thing they'll come in is they'll start running the underground piping. Then they come through and they get all the electrical done. And then the pole people come in and start putting up the poles. So that'll be done in 3 segments, and they'll illuminate it as they go because each segment has to get, inspected. Once it gets inspected, they can turn on the lights. Once they finish Estero Boulevard, then they'll go to the side streets and start doing those next. So they're saying 12 to 18 months to complete the entire project once they start.
Okay.
Do you remember how many extra poles? Do you remember?
It was
10,442
poles, and I think 258 on the side streets.
So
extra from in addition to what they have?
They're not they're not the big concrete poles. If you actually look at the poles right behind us here, that's similar to what they're going to look like. They're much lower to the ground.
Much to your surprise, I wasn't going to ask about Estero Boulevard because I know it's going to happen after season probably.
And it'll start on the south end and work north.
Okay, is there going to be any lighting in Times Square? It's so dark in Times Square.
Well, there's the lights around. We fixed, I think, for now the disco lighting of it.
No, I don't mean here. I mean in Times Square.
Oh, in Times Square? I'd have to ask. That's not part of FPL. That's part of the town.
Right.
So, as far as I know, there hasn't been really any talk, but we're going to have to do some sort of solar lighting or something there.
Yeah.
We have talked to the county about trying to get some temporary lighting around the corner, when you come out of the base of the bridge.
Yeah.
Around the bend there by Crescent Park to try to do something there to at least illuminate that at night.
It's so dark.
And then you've got turtle season coming up around the corner.
Wait. Yeah. So there's also palm trees that you guys have.
First it's hit the ball fast, and now in conversation it's slow your roll.
Well, you're jumping ahead, and I prefer that there was there's a system
last
to
time
my
I checked,
questions.
I couldn't read your mind, which is a scary point anyways.
It's another blue moon.
It's empty in there, vacuous.
So the palm trees that you guys have installed in Times Square, are you gonna? They're making a mess on Times Square. Are they gonna put the rings in? Or they almost look like the sand is nothing to keep the sand around the palm trees. I kind of noticed that. So the sand was all over. I mean, obviously, I'm asking this for somebody else.
No, that's
wow. Yeah, because you sound really out of your element
the
right
palm
now.
trees also look like they're kind of dying. The palm trees also look like can they survive the way they look now with the brown leaves? I know nothing about palm trees.
I don't know anything about palm trees either. I do not have a green thumb, so I would not be the best person to ask that. But they were put in to try to make it look nicer.
Yes.
And it doesn't make sense for us to tear up Times Square and start redoing the infrastructure.
So you know what the plan is.
Until we know what the resident. We could do just our section, but are you going to be doing things twice if what they decide they want to do in Times Square, they
What are you shuffling
I need
for?
a pen because I'm going to forget my next question. Thank you.
Oh, better write it down.
Meanwhile, Kim, don't say anything. But
no, I'll forget my question. Wouldn't matter how many blue moons I had. I forget everything. So go ahead. What were you
I
saying?
think we should get a
forgot what
functional MRI of your brain because I don't think much is lighting up in
There's
there.
not an MRI machine big enough for my brain.
Or small enough.
So please.
Now we know why he wears the headphones, so you can't see the light coming through the
This
other
is exactly how the conversation went after the pickleball game yesterday. Her blaming me for getting out of place, and she totally lost 7 to 8 points in a row. She totally
We're gonna add it
lost
up.
the game.
We're gonna add it up.
And
Well, anybody that watched it, listened to it, you were blaming before, so I guess
it's crazy. I mean,
marriage is about
And-
give and take, Ed.
yeah. And the other thing is, people were getting on my crap because
I'm
I
gonna give
said
him one of these.
because I
and I'm
said,
gonna
it's
take-
really not fair. 2 guys against a guy and a girl. That's
don't
not
start
really fair.
that again. Don't start
And
that
people
again.
were like, I mean, see, people get all upset about it. It's like, what? That's right.
Yes.
She's not a normal girl. You're right about that. That's why I expected more from her. I expected more from her yesterday. So, Dan, is that one of your
That
cards?
scared
No,
me.
it's not one. It says just. I saw on Main Street earlier. They
Is
just
it-
got married. It says.
It's crazy on this beach today. If you didn't get down here early today, you're in trouble because that line is going to be back to Walmart today.
It's
getting
not
down
one
here.
of ours. Ours don't have horns that loud.
Have you ever been to Nervous
that
Nellie's?
probably broke the noise ordinance.
Have you ever been to Nervous Nellie's during the Dweebs? I mean, that's
I have,
a crazy
yeah.
band,
Yeah, I have,
man.
I have.
So popular.
Yeah, they used to play when the Fountain was here. They used to be on the stage and they'd play there.
Yeah.
You gonna go over there and do some pogo stick dancing on the beach?
Is that what it's called? Pogo stick
pogo
Well, I
dancing?
don't know. That's what you made it sound
Yeah, I can already
like.
see the headline. Mayor takes digger into the back bay, takes out the fence, and 3 pedestrians with it.
So the one
No,
of
that'll be him trying to
Yeah,
come to the net.
That'd be him trying to push me over.
so one of the things that you sure you guys want to sit here? I don't think they want to sit here. You sure you? Well, keep it down if they don't look like they're regulars. Is there a baby in that carriage or a dog? Is there a baby? What do you think? There's a
Oh,
baby
I
in that
saw
carriage?
It's a
I saw
cooler.
Jameson this morning in the little pink Jeep.
We
Came
saw.
out.
Oh,
yeah.
very nice.
Yeah.
We had Briz and Lady on the show. Did I say that right?
Yes, you
I was
did.
saying Liz and Brady yesterday, but Briz and
but
Lady.
that's their real names. But then
Yeah.
they,
So she's pregnant again, like
Yeah.
they're having a baby. And I sent her a text last night. I said, listen, you're very busy. You've already got 1 kid. If you want us to take the kid off your hands, just have the baby and pass it off to us. We'll be happy to take it off your hands. And she didn't think that was too funny. So, but I mean, anybody that has a
It's a
baby
little
that they don't
creepy.
want, we're open to take a baby from you. I mean, if you had an accidental baby and you want to donate it to us, we're totally fine with it.
But don't expect them to be a pickleball
no,
athlete.
that
ain't
we're
gonna
not taking babies that already have beards.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Sorry.
Tom,
happen. Right.
these guys are getting married on Friday at Snug Harbor.
Wow.
Next Friday. 2
The
Fridays.
29th.
It's his 4th wife, by the way, and hopefully this will be his last wife because we really like her.
And just to be clear, we're not talking about John McClane.
How he got that from
It's
my
not John
conversation with
McClane's
Tom
4th wife.
was crazy. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
So one of the things that the town council has kind of given Chad what environmental services director. He's in charge of the lights. He's in charge of the turtles, kind of along with Eve.
How was he in charge of the turtles?
The lighting with the
The
turtles.
lighting.
So you guys, the town council has kind of given him some, I think, leeway, or I don't even know what the right word is, to what the ordinances can be really brutal on businesses and homeowners if they're not even by the beach. And this past week, the Murph committee was like, 90% of these new rebuilds on the island are violating the town's ordinance. And so the lights, Steve Johnson was saying the lights can't be facing up. They have to be facing down and blah, blah, blah. And I'm totally confused. What is the direction with the people on Fort Myers Beach in terms of the lights? Like almost, I think Nervous Nellie's had a problem with the lights because of the ordinance is so strict. So did Santini Plaza, even though they're not open. What is the direction for the people on the beach when it comes to the lighting
And
ordinance?
businesses.
Yeah.
Well, I think anybody that lives here understands what their requirements are when it comes to turtle season. How you have to shield your lights, that they have to be amber if they're visible from this. Ideally, you don't want any light visible from the beach where the turtles can see it. So that's where the shielding comes in. But you can't control everything. And you to try to police every single instance is very, very difficult. People that live here, you're going to have people that come in, forget to shut shades on the beach, or they forget to do things. And that's where Chad and the enforcement comes in. They come and they tell them, in case you didn't know, this is what you're supposed to do. But I've never been a fan of creating policy that requires everybody to do everything 100% of the time when you only really need it 6 months of the year.
Right.
Let people be adults. Let people do. I mean, there's public safety that comes into it for me. And this council and other councils have been very, very, very flexible about giving leeway when it comes to turtle-friendly lighting. We all want it. We all support it. We all want to do the best for the environment. But you got to be realistic and understand that you can't have amber lighting in your entire house all the time. It's not a pretty light. It's not something that it's warm, yes, but it's not. I mean, it's not task lighting for sure. It's just you got to be able to allow people to use their common sense.
But when a business is this far, what? How does it's the ordinance is just
there's
Island
two
wide.
things that kind of come into play here. Some of this stuff gets filtered into dark skies, and
Right.
I was talking about in the Murph
you know,
committee,
so
dark skies.
It's not just turtle friendly lighting. You talk
Okay.
about dark skies and you talk about things like this, but I mean, where do we stop? Do we tell you shut your headlights off as you're coming over the bridge?
Well,
Because
yeah.
your LED lights are now shining if you're
But
stuck
is
in traffic.
the-
I mean, where does it end?
Is the ordinance just for turtle lighting, or are you including dark skies now?
It's 12 months out of the year.
Yeah, and
Oh.
there's so much. I've said it 1,000 times, and I'm a broken record. There's so much technology out there, and when someone builds a home, they usually have a builder that has a lighting designer that comes in and designs the lighting.
Yeah.
And they will give you the lighting specs of every single light that they're going to put in there. And to have staff just look at it and say that meets the requirements of our ordinance, that should be the end of it. It shouldn't be, to me, having to. Now, if they put something in that wasn't approved through their approval process, that's a different story. But again, that's why you have enforcement. That's the enforcement is there to correct the people that are not following what they should be
But
following.
what Steve Johnson said at the Murph committee was 90% of the island is out of compliance with your ordinance. Is that true?
I don't know what he's referring to. I haven't watched the meeting, so I don't know what exactly he was referring to.
Okay.
I mean, I don't. Is there technically every house doesn't have amber in it, so every
Right.
single house could technically be out of compliance
So,
if it's
but-
visible from the
But
beach.
I can see how Chad could get confused by listening to what he says. And then also you guys, I felt like you guys gave him some discretion on okay, let's just use some common sense,
Right.
which the ordinance isn't common sense. The ordinance says you're going to do this 12 months out of the
Right.
year. There's no common sense. Well,
but just use a condo on the beach. They could have the right tint.
but that's
on
a
the
different
window.
story. Steve was talking about Back Bay buildings, Back Bay, not buildings, homes.
Yeah.
He said even a home on the Back Bay. He said when he picked a street out, I think it was it's got two names in it, Pescador or something or other. Whatever.
Avenida Pescador.
Yeah, he said most people on that street are out of compliance.
Well, I live on that street, so I guess I'm out of compliance too.
I mean, so what? So I mean, so do you see how
What
the
lights
people?
do you have at your house?
Evidently non-compliant ones.
But do you see how people might get confused and fear that they might get in trouble? Would they or not? Or is Chad's like, okay, this is crazy?
Well, I would challenge anyone to come knock on my door and tell me that I'm in violation of a turtle seeing any of my lights.
Yeah, because you're
from the
slamming with a
beach.
pickleball paddle. I'm sure you would. I mean,
Well,
but it's
no,
so
it's
far
just-
away from the beach, though. I mean, don't
No,
you-
that was my point
right,
of here.
right,
There's nothing on.
Same thing with Nurse
There's nothing
Nellie's.
at our house visible from the beach.
right.
So I know we're not in non-compliance. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't see my one outside sconce light
Yeah.
that's beside the garage that blocks the beach. And Avenida Pescador is the only street on the island that runs east-west.
So Kathy, thank you, Kathy. She said Steve was talking
The
about
only
dark
one that
skies,
Dark sky, yeah.
not
so
just turtles.
So exactly. That's why I was saying we're
Yeah.
talking about two things:
Right.
dark skies and turtles.
What does dark skies mean?
Well, I'm no expert, but basically just what it means: dark skies. They want skies dark. So
Yeah.
any kind of uplighting could be in violation. You remember when we were going over Bayside Park?
Yes.
There was a big argument
Yes.
over uplights on the trees. Well, there's plenty of people on the island that have uplights on their trees.
Light
The argument
pollution.
is that affects dark skies. Well, does it? I mean, technically, maybe.
Okay,
it
so
could,
dark
but-
skies means that the sky is not dark. I mean, so what is the
No, it means
impact
that,
on?
look, if you go out to, like when I was out in the Grand Canyon and you're out in the Grand Canyon, there's
dark.
no lights.
Right.
And you can see
All the
every
stars.
single star.
So
It
your
is
ordinance says
amazing.
the sky must be
But
dark. Is that what they're saying?
It's that the lights should be off so the sky can be dark.
I mean, so why? I mean,
that's
are we hurting the sky?
non-realistic.
Is
I
that
mean,
what
that's
we're
just
saying?
Absolutely non-realistic. You can't shut every light off on the island to create the dark sky environment that is required. You
So-
just can't.
Okay, but the dark skies that they want is doing what? What is the
I
purpose
don't know
of it?
exactly.
Well, maybe you should ask them because you're
Yeah,
just
you're
you're
not- I
circling
don't
the
know what
drain
the-
here on this. Move along.
I'm not circling the
Yeah.
drain. I'm trying to understand why
Well,
he said 90% of the
then you
island is
need to
out of
direct that at
compliance.
somebody
Well,
else.
then as a council, we'll look at it, and if it's a policy decision
Yes.
we want to make to change it, then
Thank
I'm not against people uplighting their trees. But when you uplight your trees, you're highlighting the tree. You're
Yes.
not shooting it directly into the sky. You're shooting it at the base of the tree so it illuminates the tree. You're not just aiming it right up in the middle of the, old San Carlos just because you want light in the sky. That's not the intent of uplighting, or even under seat lighting or any.
Yeah.
It frustrates me.
What frustrates me is that sometimes some of these committees get in your face with such things now that have nothing to do with people trying to rebuild their house. And I know this is going to piss people off, but people are just trying to get back in their homes. And it just seems like you're picking on the littlest thing. They're trying to get back in their homes. They want to be back in their
place. I think what you're missing, though, these committees, their job, whatever committee it is to focus on whether it's public safety, whether it's environment, whatever it is. Their job is to give you the information. Then you as policymakers, your job is to make policy based on that information. And when you have conversations with people that put in that much time and effort through these committees, you have to have a back and forth. Sometimes, in my opinion, with some of the committees, it's too much. It's my way or the highway, or you're not doing it correctly. You have to have some compromise. To your point, if you're building a new house, you're just trying to get back in your house, you're putting in the right windows, you're shielding the lights the best they are, and you're still getting hammered because you've got the wrong light bulb inside your living room that could potentially be seen from the street or from the beach. If someone rents your house and they forget to shut the shade, that's going too far.
There needs to be some discretion.
I'm not talking about anything that's on the beach where the lights could disorient the turtles. I'm totally not talking about that. I get that part of it. It's when somebody has to go down the street on the bay where there's no chance that light is going to disorient a turtle and tell a homeowner your light is wrong. That's where I feel like the government is like, do we really need you, bro? I mean, come on.
I'm not disagreeing with your point, but again, that's not something Murph can change. That's something a town council can change.
And on your discussion about the committee, sometimes I just feel like the committees are not every committee, certain committees just trying to make themselves feel like they're useful and getting in the way of people's lives.
But they are useful. Just because some committee gives you advice or gives you direction they think you should take doesn't mean you have to take it.
True.
But the fact that they're all volunteering their time to do this, they're just trying to do what's in the best interest of the island.
Right.
Or what they believe, whatever committee is in the best interest of the island. Doesn't mean it's always right. Doesn't mean it's always wrong. But they're there and they're volunteering their time to do all the work that staff and town council don't always have the time to do, or the LPA. So these committees are very important. They do a lot of hard legwork to bring things to your attention that you just don't know. Or
some committees do. Some committees do.
That's your opinion.
Right. My opinion means jack, because I don't live on the island and nobody cares what I think.
Right. I wish you would shut up and move along.
Come on down, Ellen. Yes, Ellen has a question for the mayor. Come on down, Ellen. Come on. She's going to ask the question of the mayor, because this is more than just us talking to the mayor. This is interaction with the audience. You're going to come over here and ask the mayor a question. She lives on Hibiscus Street, Dan. Go ahead.
Well, I used to.
Yeah, that was a hard hit street.
My question is, what's the outlook on some of these larger developments, that the commercial developments? Anything new there as far as what it's looking like?
No, I know several have been submitted and they're in staff review, but nothing's made it to the LPA yet, other than the Whale. Obviously, that one has gone through the process, but the bigger developments, Red Coconut, London Bay, Red Coconut has not, Seagate has not submitted yet, but London Bay has. That's in the review process with staff. So they're all kind of in that review process. They've been submitted. I believe Moss Marina, the Arches, has been submitted as well. So some of the bigger developments have been submitted and they're in staff review process right now.
I think when we were sitting at the bar, she specifically wanted to ask you if you're in favor of the outrigger. Am I putting words in your mouth, or?
Well, I can tell you.
Really, all of them. I'm curious about all of them.
I'm in favor of building back. What exactly that's going to be until we see what comes out. We've all seen what the renderings are. We've all seen the talk or heard the talk, but we don't know what's going to come out of the back and forth with the staff before it goes to the LPA for recommendation, then eventually comes to us. So it's really premature for me to say what I'm for or what I'm against until we see. They could come forward with something that's fully within the comp plan and land development code and don't need anything, and then this conversation is really mute. But
any feel on the timeline?
No, that I can't answer. I don't know. It's in the process. That's all I know. I know staff has gotten in the last 2 or 3 weeks. They've gotten quite a few developments that have come through, so they're getting through them as fast as they can. And it is a
Thank
lot
you.
of back and forth because, a developer will come in and ask for something and then staff will be like, this can't work, that can't work. And then they redraft it and then they come back in. So it's a long, painstaking process, but we'll get there. I'm
Thank
just
you.
excited to see that people want to invest in the island still and they want to build something. So I encourage them, bring it on. Let's see what you got.
Just please continue to balance what the developers want and what the citizens want.
I think we're all looking at. I think the developers understand that as well, and it's not just developers; it's also residential. Residential people obviously want as much as they can. Some do, so it's not just residential. It's just not commercial; it's residential as well.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ellen, so much. We appreciate. Anybody else have any questions for the mayor? Just come right up and yes, big hand.
How long on average does it take for a development to go through all of the channels to get approved?
Well, there hasn't really been a lot of other than the Margaritaville. That I can
And
remember.
how long did that take?
Well,
9
that took
years.
A long time. Well,
Yeah.
Once it got finally.
No,
I
once
think-
it got through.
I want to say it was. I don't know the exact dates, but I want to say it was 2016ish, 15ish,
Okay.
maybe when they purchased the land.
Yeah.
And it was approved in 2018. So,
2 years.
And the previous town council extorted all those things from them.
I guess that would be a question for TPI as to when they actually submitted till they actually had the LPA hearing. I don't know how
Yeah.
long that time frame
It
was.
seemed like it took forever. And then you hit COVID hit and the lawsuits hit and then
Yeah,
the
it was-
hurricane hit. It just added more
Yeah.
time to it. But thank
if
God
there
that
was
place
ever a
is open
perfect-
now.
yeah, if there was ever a perfect storm of events that someone had to go through, and
And then the hurricane. I mean, it just.
One thing
I
after
tell you
another.
what, how they stuck that out.
No. I can't believe any other developer other than Tom and John would have said, okay, we're out of here. We're out of this beach. We're getting out of here.
Yeah, well, and some of the development that's coming forward, it's not big out of state developers. Arches is local, Seagate's local, London
Yeah.
Bay's local.
Yeah.
So it's it's not big firms coming from somewhere else that are coming in and trying to do something. So now they may not be as local as Tom and John, but they're certainly
Right.
within the same hemisphere of Southwest Florida.
And speaking of Margaritaville, they also have a boutique hotel in Naples that just opened, and we're going to be doing a show next Saturday from that location from 4 to 6. You can get $159 room rate, and this isn't an ad or anything. You can get $159 room rate at that hotel right now. If you go on our website, you can click through and get a $159 rate
The
in Naples.
one in Naples.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was so funny because I posted that in our newsletter and somebody got the room and she was like, you really shouldn't post on there without saying it's from Naples. And I was like, did you not read the story? It said from Naples. What? I mean, it's my fault that you can't read. Read the story. It's in Naples. It's 159 in Naples if anyone wants to go.
It is interesting when you see stories out there and then you read some of the comments and they clearly have not read the story.
Yeah.
Because their comments
Right.
don't align with anything.
They
that
read
was
the
in
headline
story.
or something, or don't even read the headline. So I have to say that LCSO has really been cracking down on these jamokes that drive on the sidewalk, whether it's
Wow.
their golf cart or the motorcycle or the truck. The truck on Friday.
That was
it
right at the
Friday.
end of our street. Yeah.
Dude, that deputy was pissed off.
Mhm.
He pulled that guy and cuffed him.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure he was pissed because the guy was driving 30 miles an hour on
Was
the
he?
sidewalk
I didn't know that part of it.
in the
Yeah.
truck. It's
That would make
crazy.
me nervous.
He was like, you could have,
Mm-mm.
I'm sure he said to him, you could have killed somebody.
Yep.
Well, we've all seen the cars that speed down the center lane.
Mhm.
And yesterday we were sitting in traffic, and where there was no center lane, the guy was driving in the north on the southbound lane doing 30 miles an hour. And I'm thinking, all it's going to take is someone to walk out from a
Yep.
crosswalk,
Right.
or
It's crazy. I mean,
I
when
would-
you're-
people are starting to get angry now, though. They're not letting these guys back in, so it's giving
Okay.
the time for Lee County Sheriff's Office to catch up to
oh,
them.
good for
Right.
them.
Yesterday, that nobody was letting that guy in. He ran out of real estate. He had to turn off because nobody was letting him back in.
Good for them.
Yeah.
He was stuck.
It's really not. I mean, I'm sure you get frustrated. You're sitting in traffic and you're the mayor and you're watching people violate the law like that. I mean,
We were yesterday. Megan actually took a video of it. We were in front of the Red Coconut, and everybody does that cut through, which is fine. I mean, as long as you're stopping at stop signs, it's a road, right?
Sure.
Well, they went into the Red Coconut party. There was two of them, and one was they were young kids driving a truck, and they had two canoes sticking out the back, or kayaks sticking out the back. And we're watching them because you're sitting in traffic, and they're driving all the way through. And they came behind the Lee County Sheriff's Office building there.
Yes.
And then they tried to come out right where the end of the the building used to be there, and there's a rope across there, so they couldn't get out. So the one kid gets out, and Megan's got this all on video, and the kid's trying to untie
the rope,
and he can't get it untied. So he hops up on the hood and of the truck and lifts it up, and then tries to drive under, and it's not going over. So he lifts it up over the cab, and then
my gosh.
the kid hits the gas. And
Why
sends
didn't
the kid
she
flying.
send me that video? I
And
can't
then
believe
he
it.
has to climb in the box of the truck to get it from under. So anyway, he
Unbelievable.
comes out and he climbs back on the hood. And Megan's like, "I've got this all on video. I'm going to send it to the Lee County Sheriff's Office." And the kid's flipping her off, and he's going woo like this. Well, so we had gotten past them, and they come up behind us. They were two young kids. And so we're going forward, and at that time, as they got back in line, there happened to be a Lee County Sheriff's Office deputy coming south, and it must have scared the Dickens out of them because they pulled in front of where the chamber building is there. By they pulled in, got out of their truck, and started walking down the sidewalk and left their truck
like
parked.
doodly doo.
Yeah, like they had bare feet out there just walking
Yeah.
down the street. So I think just the timing of everything happened to work out with it. It scared them, and they just started walking down Estero Boulevard.
I was riding the bike today, and people were trying to go in the crosswalk. Now I was riding the bike, and I was in on Estero Boulevard, not on the sidewalk because there was too many people. And I hit the brakes. I mean, I left some tire tread on there, and people were like, no. I said, nope. The rule is that you need to stop for people in the crosswalk. So then he goes, yeah, except somebody telling people going southbound. And I'm like, finally someone stopped. But people just remember, just stop, let people cross. It's only going to take another second or two.
In May, everything is going to go back to normal when everyone goes back home. There won't be as much traffic.
Just take a minute.
So,
but even this morning at 6 o'clock when I was going over the bridge, the amount of traffic that was
people coming on this bridge for sure. I tried to call Megan to see if she would send me that video.
I'll have her send it to you.
So
she probably has to edit out her voice though, but
I could do that. So what was the we have next Sunday and Monday, if anybody doesn't know, we got together with the Garden Club, the Estero Island Garden Club. We raised $8,000 for plants. I was shocked and surprised and happy.
Look at how you rate.
Thank you.
Wow.
That we were able to raise. They needed $5,000 for the plants, and we were able to raise $8,000 in just a couple of hours. And all those plants are going to go behind the wavy wall. Tony said he wanted to touch up the wall. I don't know if he needs to talk to Frankie about that, but so that's next.
He was on this morning.
Sunday and Monday. Volunteers. We got like 60 volunteers that are coming for that. And the other thing is, we just did something goofy with the pickup stations, and we got $1,000 donated for that. So hopefully I could drop that off on Monday and see if you guys want it. If you don't want to use it, then
not yet.
We got the yellow buckets and the whole thing. So
you see people going out there with bags.
I know.
And,
they just want to help.
They just want to help, and they're doing a great job of leaving the garbage by the garbage so that our public works staff can come by and pick it up in the morning. And it's a good system and it works. But I'm in favor of the funky little things like that. But I always like to. I'm not a copycat person. I like to come up with something
cool colors and things, maybe something a little different. But the thing too is that if the buckets get stolen, they get stolen. It didn't work. It was an idea. Not every idea works. But I ran into Karen Woodson. She said she loves the idea.
We're gonna put a GPS system on those buckets.
I think the fear is the buckets will be used for other things besides picking up trash.
Listen, I ran on the beach. I ran and walked on the beach, dear. I know
but
you're
if it's got holes in it.
Yeah, it'll have holes in it. There is a lot of holes on the beach. I think there needs to be some kind of constant education about people filling in the holes. Maybe not so much now because it's not turtle season, but it will be turtle season soon. But also, some of those holes are so big.
You're gonna break
dark
an ankle.
in the morning. You could fall.
They come in
and
and
get hurt.
take those big holes, and then they don't fill them back in.
So just remember to fill the holes. And the beach looked nice this morning. I mean, it wasn't horribly dirty, but that's because I think people are out there cleaning up.
Well, I think there's so many people that are volunteering their time to do that and clean up, and But the biggest thing is clean up after yourself. You don't want people coming to your house and leaving garbage all over when they leave. Just clean up after yourself.
Yeah,
it's
if you
not
bring
hard.
it, take
it with you.
You carried it there full.
Right.
It's gonna be easy to carry
point,
it out.
Exactly.
Even
if you got to drag it, it's just get it back to the beach.
I mean, if you bring soda and you drink them all, it's going to be easier to carry those cans back.
Yeah, they're much lighter.
So Dan, there's an issue.
And take your diapers. I don't want to see your diapers.
What about my diaper?
I never want to see your diaper.
So one of the
I'm not
things.
even I had it was right there.
That's
Still
right
got,
there.
I got,
Yep.
got good breaks.
Oh, look at that
Good
baby,
breaks.
dear. How old is that baby right there? How can we get a baby like that?
Well,
I
that
want a
would
little
take,
baby like that.
a miracle.
Why do you want a baby?
I wanted to
He
have like
loves
18
babies.
kids, and we got one good one.
I'm saying a couple of months.
How old is that baby? 7 weeks.
See, couple
We're
of months,
too
yeah.
loud. 7 weeks. So
Yeah.
you guys gonna
Yeah,
have
don't
more?
scare that baby.
More kids? How many more are you gonna have?
Was he a diaper changer, Kim?
5? 5
He
more?
was.
Holy
He was
moly,
pretty
wow.
good.
He's got
He
one of
was
those.
good.
He looks like a train engineer with that mustache. Like he should be on the train doing that. Doesn't he look like that with the mustache?
That little Mario look.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
means
yeah, yeah, yeah.
As a compliment.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Where are you guys from? Iowa.
Iowa.
Oh,
Nice.
okay. First couple
Lot
from
of
Iowa.
Iowa.
A lot of
No, we have
Ohio
a lot
today.
of Iowans.
Who's from Ohio?
Iowa.
Anybody here from
He
Ohio?
said Iowa.
I know they're from Ohio over there. They're totally drunk right now. Ohio over there too. So
Everybody's
everybody
from,
from
Ireland today.
Ohio is totally drunk by now. It's 12 o'clock. So Dan,
They said Iowa.
I know they said
Oh.
Iowa, but everybody else is from Ohio. See, are you from Ohio? See, I told you.
OH.
Everybody's from Ohio. So
Responded.
one
No,
of the
that's
one
good
of,
though.
one of the things that came up was the Mr. Tequila parking lot guy is going to be able to come in for a
Oh,
permit
here we go.
and be allowed to continue to charge people to park in his. I mean, he's doing it now. It's still you say it's illegal. The town says it's illegal. He's still doing it. And somebody sent me a picture yesterday. He's charging people to park in the post office parking lot. I mean, how does he get away with that? I mean, what is going on over there?
The landowner of that property owner has to stop him from doing that.
The government.
Well, the government doesn't own that property. They're leasing.
Oh, I see.
They lease that space from the property owner. So
Oh.
the property owner would have to do something about it.
So do you think he has permission to sell
I don't
spaces?
know. I don't know.
So it's
Maybe he does.
possible
I don't
that
know.
he could.
Yeah.
And so
That guy is
Is-
making millions of dollars.
is he
And then-
getting is he getting fined for doing anything?
Yeah.
at
If
this
he's in
point?
violation, absolutely he is. Yeah.
How much are the fines now?
Oh, he's getting fined
Well,
like
and I think
$250
there-
a day, which is
No,
nothing.
there's something that needs to be cleared up too, because Megan actually had this issue too. Why is the town allowing to get permits for windows and stuff like that if he's in violation? And I asked the attorney about it. It's two separate things. You can't withhold a permit for someone if they're in violation of something that has nothing to do.
Right. So the
Right.
parking garage can't delay him on the
parking,
windows.
The parking
Garage.
that
I'm sorry, the
violation,
parking.
You can't legally hold
Okay, fair
something
enough, fair
because
enough.
that violation has nothing to do with it. So it's, I mean, if we could do it, we would legally do it. But
But he's still charging whatever he's making
Sure,
tons of money
he's
right
back
now.
back in violation. So
So what the town attorney said was he can actually come in for a permit once he pays his fine, which is
as long as
$250,000.
he's in compliance, yes.
But then he's allowed to continue to charge for parking because he has no tenants. That's what she said. Until he
Yes.
gets tenants, he's allowed to park people on the beach.
If he
Which-
has a permit to do it, yes.
So will you vote yes for his permit?
He hasn't come in to vote for it.
If he comes in and pays his fine.
If he's in compliance to be a legal parking lot, you can't withhold it from him.
But you can vote no if he comes in for a special
You-
exception. You can
could,
vote
sure,
no.
You could, sure.
Right.
You can't stop him from coming in and asking for
Right.
it, but you could say no.
Right.
And you can also make it contingent on you have to have so many spaces, obviously, for every renter. Nobody knows. He hasn't
But
been
why
in
would he
communication
put
with
why
us on
would
what
he
he's gonna
but
do
why
there.
would he put any renters in there when he can make all that money in a parking lot?
It's free commerce. I mean,
But that's not fair to the people that are actually applying for permits and getting legal permits. It's an illegal parking lot.
Well, right now,
Right.
but you
Yes.
said if he came in
I'm
and
sh-
applied,
I was
and it
shocked that the
granted
attorney
it,
said that. I was
But
totally
if he's
shocked.
granted that and he
Here.
just uses it for a whole parking
that
lot,
strip
then
mall,
he can do it.
But that strip mall is there for people that are supposed to be shopping. He's taking money out of Chris's pocket. He's taking money out of
he's
those other.
taking right
by
now
not being compliant, he's
by not being compliant.
Right.
But if he came into
but he
compliance
is the
and
property owner. If
bulldozed
he has
it,
the right to do parking there through a special exception or whatever he needs, he's not doing anything wrong. He could keep that building completely empty for as long as he wants, assuming he has the right to do the parking lot, which he doesn't have the right to do right now.
Right.
but if he
Okay.
got the right, that's
Then
a
he
different-
could keep that building empty forever. The town
Right.
can't do anything
Yeah.
about it.
All right.
So pay his fine. What is
And
the
it's
fine?
you look at when you own the property. Just look at this business. Let's say this business said we're going to give out free booze for 3 days.
Okay.
Is that going to hurt every other business around here that does the same thing? 100% it's going to hurt it because they're going to come here. But it's their right. It's they're within their right to do it.
They can operate their
But the
business how
thing-
they want.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. But what surprised me was you guys have a lien on his property. You're foreclosing on his property because he won't follow the rules and hasn't followed the rules for years.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, the town attorney said if he pays this fine, it can become a legal parking lot. That's something I'd never heard before.
It could if he goes through the special. Terry was dealing with the same thing. Terry had the same thing with his parking lot.
Right.
There were things that he had to do to be able to come into compliance to operate as a parking lot. He chose not to do them. Now he's within compliance. So he's doing the same thing that he could do, but he's choosing not to do it.
Well,
But you're not going to give him a discount on the fines, are you? I think he should pay the full amount.
no, there wasn't any discount on the fines.
Yeah.
Whatever the fine was, he had to come in and pay. We're not talking about Terry. We're talking about Nacarado.
Yeah, I'm talking about.
He's supposed to come in and pay the fine in full and then apply for the special. He's not going to do any of that. The guy's never done anything. I mean, he's never come into compliance.
But then
anyway.
then the town, if the town puts a
forecloses.
lien and
It's already
forecloses,
it's in
then
foreclosure.
so then you own it.
No, you don't own it. As far as I understand it, is you get paid what you're owed. If the
Because you
land
will
sells.
sell it. You'll sell it. The town will sell it on
I
it.
believe there's a way that you could go through and do that. The lawyer could tell me
That would
better
be
than that.
great.
But as far as I know, that's still moving forward. So I wouldn't think a valuable piece of property like that someone would want to allow to go into the lien process.
Right.
But
Yeah. But who
some
knows?
Some people, you
knows?
never know. But,
This island is crazy with some of the people down here that own property.
but trust me, the town is doing any. There's so much misinformation about this, just the Terry thing, the fines. On paper, did he have $2 million in fines?
Yes.
But there was nothing that the magistrate had voted on. It isn't really a fine until the magistrate says you owe this much money.
Okay, then why is it out there that there's $2 million? I mean, the
Because it
town
still
put it out there.
accrues. It still
Okay.
accrues. It accrues daily, and whatever that dollar amount is, that dollar amount is. But then you have to go to the magistrate, and they impose the fines. The magistrate says you owe $5, not $100. Well, that's now what you are on the hook to pay for. So that's negotiations through the proceedings of the magistrate and the property owner.
Well, it's
and the
not really
town.
misinformation, Dan. If the town says Terry owns $2 million in fines, nobody really knows that, oh, wait, you got to go to the magistrate and put some teeth into it. I mean, who knows that? I didn't know that.
And it could have been, it goes to the magistrate and they're like, you owe all whatever millions that it is.
But one of the things that you said was that he came into compliance. He's really not in compliance now. You guys have asked him to do certain things around that parking lot, like nice it up, fix things up. He hasn't. I mean, that's what the old council asked him to do. That's why he got in trouble with that. He never did it. He's never done any of that.
Well, there's
the stump is gone though. The stump is gone.
Yeah, I know. Vice Mayor Adderholt was one of the things he wanted in there that had to go away. He paid the fine.
Yes, he did.
He paid the fine that he had to pay.
Yep.
And he has to come into compliance on certain other things. And
Right.
he's got to
Okay.
stay in
All right.
compliance, or the $500,000 that's sitting in escrow comes back to the town and it starts all over.
Boy, that
again.
guy's just got crazy money to burn. He's just throwing millions of dollars around my property.
The town just wants people to be in compliance. It's not about going after you for money. It's not about anything.
Yeah.
It's to your point. It's asking you to do the same thing that your neighbor
True.
has to
No,
do.
I'm
or
with you
anybody else has to
100%,
do.
man. I'm
And if
with
you're
you.
not doing it, then that's where the code enforcement comes.
And I think that part of the challenge is this town manager and Frankie are trying to be more friendly with people as opposed to the way it was. And it can't be easy when you're trying to be.
It's a fine line to balance. It really is.
Educating
Because you don't want to
as
be
much
too
as you
far
can.
one way. You don't want to be so heavy-handed that we have what we had before, but you also don't want to just let anybody do whatever they
Right.
want. So it's a very fine line to walk to make sure that you're keeping people in compliance without being too heavy-handed and without saying, now we're just going to look the other way.
Well,
'Cause you
the
don't
other
want
thing
either one.
too is educating people. If
Right.
it's complicated. Not everybody has a degree in government, variances and things. So if you educate them and then they continue to not comply,
and that
that's
happens
a
a lot.
different
People
situation.
will do something not understanding that they're not in compliance. The town will say, hey, you're not in compliance with this particular part of the code, and they fix it and you move on. Because they didn't know, and that happens. We've all done it.
Did you watch the LPA meeting, the last LPA meeting with Root
Which,
Trim?
I have not gotten through the whole thing yet.
That's it was a totally interesting thing to watch because you do have some neighbors back here behind us that said they were concerned about the music, but you also have a place that people love to go to. And I think Anita and the LPA was like, you guys just need to figure out how to live in harmony
Right.
until something it gets built over there.
I mean, yeah, we all went through travesty. Business owners, residential owners, everybody. What am I waving at?
It's getting crazy here.
Yeah, no, everybody went through tragedy, and everybody's trying to make it work. And you know, some people are just now getting back in their houses. Some
Right.
people still don't have a home to go back to. So I think to your point, if that's what they said in the meeting, that's 100% spot on. We all got to live as close to harmony as you can and understand that people aren't doing things. Most people aren't doing things just to
hurt people.
Just to hurt people.
Right.
They're just trying to operate a business, or they're just trying to get back in their home, or they're just trying to do. And you got to be able to work with them and understand that just because our neighbor, they've got saws running all day. It's not comfortable when you're trying to work, but you understand they're
trying to
rebuild.
Yeah.
It's just it's not something
Thank
that's going to go on forever.
Thank you. Are they cheering for us or
No, they want you to wrap it
they're
up.
cheering for more beer is what they're cheering
I don't know.
for. So.
They're doing something.
So Dan, what else is going on that you want people to know about that we didn't ask about?
Oh, there was something, but I left my notes in the truck. There was something that I think we pretty much covered most everything. We've tomorrow the meeting is going to be in the gym again.
Okay.
Because the supervisor
Voting.
of elections will be in there for voting.
Early voting. Has
Early
everybody
voting.
anybody voted yet for the presidential primary? There's
Not a lot of
does
hands.
anybody know that there's a presidential race going on this year? And how many people care? Because we've got the two oldest people on the planet running for president. We're
It's
not a
still no
national
vote.
politics thing. We totally trying to avoid that. So one of the things on the agenda is you have now a resident, I think, or business owner coming in trying to get $1 million in fines reduced in some way, which will be interesting to see. I mean, I think it's a female coming in, and it's on the agenda that she's got. I mean, almost the entire agenda packet is made up of her fines on one of the locations on the beach that you guys will spend time on trying to forgive or not, right?
Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens.
I see. You didn't read the agenda yet.
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay.
But I usually
Wait
read
a
it again
minute.
at 5 in the morning. So
Are you going to reduce them, or is that a magistrate thing? Because before,
I don't know.
like, who does that? Before you said it was the magistrate.
the magistrate imposes the fine. I believe the council. We haven't had one yet come before us, so this would be the first one that, since the storm, that I remember that we have to discuss. But we had before the storm. We had some. I believe the magistrate imposes the fine, and then you can come to council to ask for forgiveness from some of the fines.
Well,
I believe that's the process.
well, I can tell you this.
That's a good question. I'll have to.
This fine
Yeah,
has
I'm
not gone in
confused
front of the
then.
magistrate. Certainly not the new magistrate. Not this amount, but
And I don't.
this is another one of those properties that I think is in foreclosure. There was a list of like, hey, that's your wife calling. I was trying to see if she could send us that video, but no, there was like 7 properties that you guys. Maybe it even started with the previous council, right? Where you were starting to say, okay, enough's enough with these people. We need to. I think Terry's property was one, and the other property at the
There was.
Mr.
I think
Tequila.
there was 3 or 4 of them.
Oh, 3 or 4.
And
Okay.
some of them
This
were
is one of them.
residential ones, and
Yeah.
there was more than just those 2 big properties. There
Right,
were
right,
several.
right.
That
Okay.
started before the storm, kind of going down the foreclosure path.
Cool. Anything else?
No, see everybody tomorrow.
Right. Big hand for Mayor
the,
Dan out. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, tomorrow I believe Adam Botana will be at the meeting.
Oh, I didn't know that.
and Chris Holly will be down, kind of give an update on
Definitely
the.
going to that meeting.
We'll give an update on the legislative session and kind of fill everybody in. I've kind of filled you in on some
Yeah.
of it, but they'll be on the agenda tomorrow to kind of.
I'm going to speak in
Fill it
public
in.
comment tomorrow.
Are you?
Yeah.
What are you going to say?
Can't tell you.
He'll stammer because he can do
I'm
this
totally
all day.
nervous.
But he
You
gets
know,
in front of there. He's like,
it was so funny
and then he
because-
makes jokes that
Are you going to
nobody
stand
gets.
up there and admit in a public meeting that you got beat by
yes,
the better team?
yes, that's going to be one of my 3 items. I have to say that at the LPA meeting, Stephen Clark got up and he spoke at public comment in favor of root shrimp, and he said, "I can't believe when I got up there, I was nervous." I was like, "Dude, I know exactly how you feel."
It is. You
It's
know
a
what?
different kind of thing.
It is. It is. Even before I was on council and I went and spoke at a few meetings, it is. I mean, you're staring at 5 people that
Right.
they're just like everybody
But
else.
the weirdest thing for me is like they're all my friends. I
Yeah.
know everything.
Well, I don't know.
Well, at
if
least
all
in my
of them
face
like
are my
you.
friends. Probably behind my back, they hate me.
Oh, there is that.
I've heard some
There's that.
shade thrown, but I don't tell you
Yeah.
there.
Ladies and gentlemen, the
All
mayor
right,
of
thanks,
Fort Myers
guys.
Beach, Dan Allers, another great show that will go down in history. Ladies and gentlemen, before we rock and roll, I need to tell you about the fine sponsors that make this show possible. in addition to your coffees, we appreciate your coffees. Valerie's Lounge. They are now a non-smoking lounge. They're over by the Walmart. So if you don't want to sit in that traffic and you want to have a green beer or a blue beer or a red beer, you should stop at Valerie's Lounge. They're open from 7 o'clock in the morning. For the really solid drinker, that's when you want to start. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. And you can do that at Valerie's Lounge. You want to be the first person through that door and say, I had the first drink at this place. Dear, steal the baby. Steal the baby. 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. Does anyone want to have a baby for us? I mean, not right here in this place, but I mean, I've got cash. I can pay cash for the baby. That you thought I lost my place, but I didn't. The Flying Hasselhoffs perform every Thursday night at Valerie's Lounge. And they start at 9 o'clock, because if you start drinking at 7 o'clock, you want to be able to stand up at 9 o'clock and watch the Flying Hasselhoffs. Does anybody remember the name of the car that David Hasselhoff had in that? Oh, you guys are way old. You knew that one easy. Starlight Electric is another one of our sponsors, and we love Starlight Electric because if you're building a new house, the last thing you want is to be in a dark house. Like, who forgot to turn on the lights, or we need to call an electrician because my wife decided that she was going to be the person that installed the lighting. That's bad. Stick to pickleball. Starlight Electric will take care of you. They are locally family owned and operated since 2013. Licensed in Florida since 2004. That's 20 years ago, Tom, if you're trying to keep track at home. I know you can count to 4, but can you count to 20? Both owners are involved in their daily operations. Starlight Electric, they're sitting out in their car right now waiting for you to call them because you need electricity, and they have it stored in their trunk. Give them a call right now, 239-313-7122, 239-313-7122. And finally, everybody knows Alex King because he's the only guy left on the beach wearing Crocs, and he's the real estate guru on Fort Myers Beach. Current Lux Alex King Group is the name of the group. If you're looking to sell your house or looking to buy a house or looking to sell your property, looking to buy property, call Alex King. You see his crazy videos all over the Facebook. You probably saw him yesterday playing pickleball. It was the first time he's ever played pickleball in his life. But he's sitting in his car right now waiting for you to call him because you have a house you want to buy and he has a house he needs to sell right here on Fort Myers Beach, because who doesn't want to live on the beach? Give Alex King a call. Dear, the baby's leaving. Dear, the baby is leaving the building. Oh, mom's got to go to the restroom to change the baby because the baby went poo-poo. Dad did not volunteer to take the baby to the bathroom to change the diaper. It was all about the mom. Thank God for moms. And thank God for Alex King. I bet you thought I lost my place. But you can call him right now at 239-219-0336. 239-219-0336. There's one other event I need to tell you about before we roll out of here for another weekend. And Gulfside 12 is having another event next weekend. So keep an eye on our Facebook page, Gulfside 12, selling condominiums for a mere $4 million. If you've got $4 million burning a hole in your pocket, you can get a nice condo on Fort Myers Beach right next to the old Sandpiper building. No, the old Outrigger building. That's where they are. So check out the Gulfside 12 condos because, you know, that could be your spot. Got $4 million? Easy enough right there on the beach. Sweet living right there. Sweet living. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Have a great Valentine's Day or whatever today is. Did I say Valentine's Day? All these silly holidays. Just another excuse for drinking. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming to Wahoo Willie's. Thanks to all you people, you foreigners from wherever you're from. You guys have been here since what time? Like 7 o'clock. This place opened at 9 o'clock. They're still drinking. It's 12 o'clock now. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.